Welcome to This Just In, a weekly news show highlighting the people and events in Newport News Public Schools. As we prepare for a new year, let's take a look back at some of the wonderful stories that positively impacted students, staff, and families in 2024. Talented teaching artists visited preschool students to create a joyful and active learning experience. For the first time this school year, Newport News Public Schools partnered with the Wolf Trap Education Program to integrate arts through math, literacy, and social-emotional learning. Funding for the artistic partnership was provided by a Virginia Department of Education grant. Through the Wolf Trap Institute Classroom Residency Program, professional artists worked alongside teachers in 32 preschool classrooms at Denby and Watkins Early Childhood Centers and Marshall Early Learning Center. During two separate sessions in the fall and winter, 8 teaching artists spent a week with their adopted classrooms using music, dramatic storytelling, dance, acting, and other performing arts to connect with students and make learning interactive, engaging, and fun. Before arriving, teaching artists communicated with each classroom teacher, and then again after every visit, to create engaging and relevant lessons customized for each group of students' needs. Using a range of performing arts, the Wolf Trap teaching artists taught about emotions through storytelling, combined music with movement to enhance the learning experience, used acting to make stories come alive, and engaged students through sing-alongs and playing musical instruments. Even after the week-long visits, many teachers are still utilizing these creative teaching methods in their classrooms to keep all students connected to learning. Through this wonderful partnership with Wolf Trap, our teachers have gained additional skills and insights to spark student interest, engage all students, and build meaningful relationships through the power of the arts. Talented student musicians and singers from across Newport News Public Schools came together for the first ever All-City Music Festival. Organized by the NNPS Visual and Performing Arts Department, the evening of musical brilliance shone brightly at the internationally renowned Ferguson Center for the Arts at CNU. Over 600 elementary, middle, and high school students were selected to perform based on their classroom dedication and recommendation from their music teachers. To perform with superiority in a blended performance ensemble with very little rehearsal time, each student needed extreme focus and talent. In the acoustically superb Peebles Theater, the middle school all-city chorus, orchestra, and band performed. The elementary honors choir sang in the Jane Susan and Joe Frank Atrium to a multi-tiered audience. And in the awe-inspiring Diamondstein Theater, the high school all-city guitar, orchestra, band, and chorus performed with excellence. Each ensemble had a day or two to rehearse together and was led by special guest conductors. These talented leaders included current NNPS instructors, music directors from nearby school systems, and retired music educators. Supervisor of Visual and Performing Arts, Katie Sheehan Smith, and School Board Chairman Lisa Searles Law recognized these special guests between performances and thanked them for their time. And CNU President Bill Kelly welcomed student performers and guests. Each performance was a wonderful showcase of our students' immense musical talents, a true testimony to the amazing teachers and high level of music education offered across Newport News Public Schools. The entire evening was free for families, staff, and the community to witness an elevated musical event, proving once again why Newport News Public Schools has been recognized for the 7th year as one of the best communities for music education by the National Association of Music Merchants Foundation. For the first year ever, Newport News Public Schools provided football for middle school student athletes. After a month of practices through March, boys and girls from all 8 middle schools competed against one another during Saturday games held at various high school fields across the city. The teams looked sharp in their brand new uniforms, as coaches worked diligently on building fundamental skills, knowledge, and techniques for the many athletes taking their first strides into organized football. Middle school football took place in the spring instead of the traditional fall season, so it wouldn't interfere with the high school football schedule. After a 6-week regular season, the 4 top teams from the Northern and Southern divisions competed in 2 semifinal games held at Todd Stadium. The winning teams that advanced to the city championship game were the Ella Fitzgerald Jazz against the Huntington Vikings. At halftime, the Vikings were up 8-6 as the teams prepared for a rain-soaked second half. The Jazz controlled the ball for most of the second half, scoring the go-ahead touchdown until the Vikings made a spectacular passing touchdown to take the lead back. Quarterback Zaire White-Epps connected with wideout Roderick Perry for a 60-yard touchdown. Huntington's defense held strong, keeping the Jazz out of the end zone to secure a 16-12 victory for the mighty Vikings, who will forever be the first NNPS middle school football champions. Head coach Ray Malone and his coaching staff encouraged the young student athletes to believe in themselves, give it their all, and the number 1 rule, just have fun.
Vikings, are you ready?
What Huntington started together 3 months ago with their first practice, they finished in style, earning the mighty Vikings the citywide trophy.
Wow, some of my favorite teachers. 2 come to mind right away. They are very much a part of who I am, my fabric, my DNA currently. The first was Mrs. Horton. Funny story, to this day, I am now 44 years old. Mrs. Horton is one of my secrets to my security questions. It's crazy, you can't even make this stuff up. Just a sweetheart, so gentle, so nurturing. She truly let me believe that I could do and accomplish anything. And then the second would be Miss Sinclair White. She was my AVID instructor. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. And those 2 ladies, so influential in my success. And then the third, and probably the most important, was my mother, Kimberly Folks. She was a teacher at Saunders and Huntington Middle School. So those 3 ladies, I couldn't speak enough praise about. They embody what Newport News Public Schools was all about. So music was my life. You know, I had every intention on making that my career. And during that time, you know, my mother was very unhealthy. She eventually passed away when I was 20 years old. When you're raised by a single parent and then you lose that parent at such a young age, I think it kind of forces you to choose a path. You know, it's very easy for young people to make the wrong decisions, make poor decisions, and stray from what they've been taught and what they've learned through the first 18, 19 years of life. But I didn't choose that. I chose to kind of rely on everything that I was taught, and I threw myself into the culinary deep end, enrolled in Johnson & Wales University. And I said, man, I also really love this. Yeah, I love music, but I'm also really good at this. I love this. And so just dove straight into the culinary field, and the rest is sort of history. You know, having the willingness to never give up, to keep fighting, to know that there's gonna be some down times, there's gonna be some up times, but you just sort of persevere through all of that. You know, I think that's really the backbone of what AVID was all about, and a product of Newport News Public Schools. I was certainly an AVID poster child in high school as AVID was first kind of taking its maiden voyage. A lot of what I do to this day is sort of built off of the AVID background and foundation. Being prepared, setting charts and making examples and putting things on display, that's very much woven into the AVID fabric. So there's a hallway that exits the bar and leads you to the bathroom. And in this hallway, we have this chart, which is full of awards that I've won throughout my culinary career. all the way to the present day, which is when the restaurant opened, because that's a big achievement. And that's what it's all about. You know, I think you work hard for something, you should recognize that and draw attention to it and see how far you've come through your own personal journey. And so that graph is my way of kind of tipping the cap to Newport News Public Schools and to Avid. For me, opening this restaurant was a way to showcase my talent, sure. But it was also a way to kind of give back to the community. You know, I could have chosen to put this restaurant anywhere, but I chose to put it in Newport News, you know, literally 3 miles up the road from where I graduated high school. And some of that is because I wanted young people to see that, hey, look, here's a guy who's from our neighborhood that was successful, that did make it, and I'm right up the street. You know, why take that talent out of this neighborhood? And I think for teachers, it kind of works the same way. You know, what better way for teachers to say, hey, look, this kid is a product of what we're doing. For every one of me, I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands of other young people who have gone on to be successful thanks to the education, the tutelage, the wisdom of all the teachers from the Newport News Public School System.
Students, staff, and an excited community are already gearing up for the 2026 school year and the grand opening of the brand new Huntington Middle School. In early September, school and city leaders, elected officials, Huntington alumni, and members of the community gathered for the official groundbreaking of the historic school. Over the course of 2 years, Huntington will be reborn as a 600-student education center with a focus on STEAM and include student learning studios, state-of-the-art labs, and open collaboration areas. The groundbreaking ceremony was a celebration of the next chapter of Huntington's enduring legacy, where students will have an amazing facility to build their own bright futures. During winter break, schools and offices will be closed from Monday, December 23rd through Friday, January 3rd. Teachers return to work on Monday, January 6th, and students will return to learn on Tuesday, January 7th. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of This Just In. And check out more fun and informative videos at nnpstv.com to see the many great things happening in Newport News Public Schools. Thanks for watching and have a great start to the new year.